Well, hey artists, welcome back to the art room. Actually coming to you live from my kitchen again. So today, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make some of our own homemade watercolor paints. Now I've got to give credit to where credit is due. This is a recipe that was developed by Jackie Curry, art and crafts enthusiast, teacher, and so this is her recipe, give credit where it's due, but I'm looking forward to making some paint with you today. So what we're gonna be doing in the next couple of crafts that we've got is working with watercolor paints, like tray watercolors, okay? And also using some food coloring to do some monoprint making. But if you don't have paint at home, you can always make some. So that's what we're gonna do. So first, please get yourself a measuring cup if you got one. Okay, if you don't have a measuring cup, if you've got a bowl with a spout, that works well. If you don't have a bowl with a spout, that's okay too. All right, you can do it just in a regular bowl. But I have found so far in testing this out, measuring cup works great. So the first thing you're gonna add to this is 4 tablespoons of baking soda. Put it right in. Good old-fashioned regular baking soda, right? Like so, just like that. All right, to that, you're gonna add 2 tablespoons of white vinegar. And hello science experiment, let it bubble. Okay, you're gonna wait for that bubbling to kind of stop doing its thing, to bubble down. Give it a little bit of a stir here. Let that bubbling come on down. Okay, the next thing you're going to add, okay, is some cornstarch, which is this stuff, right? Cornstarch for like cooking, for thickening things up. Okay, you're gonna add 2 tablespoons of that cornstarch. And you're also gonna add a half teaspoon of light corn syrup. There you go, light corn syrup. It's just a half teaspoon of it, it's not a lot. Okay, and then you're gonna mix this up. You're gonna get really stir it and combine it. I find with the corn syrup, you gotta like scrape it out of the spoon, scrape it out of the container it's in, and give it a stir. There we go. Let me rinse my finger here. And we're gonna start mixing this up. Now it's gonna be really kind of like a thick paste to start with. And what we're gonna do is I found to work it into a bit better viscosity, we're gonna kind of work this paste together, is we're gonna add just tiny little splashes of vinegar at a time. Teeny tiny, just little bits at a time, little bit by little bit. And we're gonna keep stirring until we get kind of like a paste that when we're not touching it, it looks like a liquid. But when we are stirring it, it turns into a solid. Because believe it or not, as my husband and I were doing a test of this last night, he noticed, he went, "Oh, this makes a non-Newtonian fluid." And I was like, "What are you talking about? What's that?" And so fun fact for y'all, a little bit of science in our art, another touch of vinegar, I think, is a non-Newtonian fluid is in its resting state, it is a fluid, or it is a material that stays in its fluid state. But as we put force on it, i.e. me stirring it, it becomes solid. Oh, perfect. Here, you're gonna see that happen right now. So it's just little tiny splashes of vinegar till that when you stir it, it becomes solid. But when you stop stirring, watch this. It relaxes into a liquid. How cool is that? Ooh, I'm dripping. Okay, so stir, becomes like a solid paste, right? Because I'm putting force on it. Okay, and then if I let it relax, it becomes liquid. So cool. All right, so here's what we're gonna do next. You are gonna need either some Dixie cups or like a leftover ice cube tray, or I made a batch of them for my little kiddo, Gia, at home. And she's real little, so she needs like bigger trays to work in. So I just grabbed a muffin tin I wasn't using. Before you grab a muffin tin or an ice cube tray or anything like that, make sure it's okay with mom and dad, right? We don't want to be like hogging an ice cube tray for paints when we might need it for something else or a muffin tin. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our cool paint base, and now we're just gonna pour 6 little sections of it. So 1, 2, I'm gonna try to get as even as I can. Don't need to do a ton. 3, right, and each you just kind of spreading it out evenly. Now if you do a double batch, you can do 12 muffin tins like I've done, but this is just a single batch, so it'll make 6. Okay, and our last one. And it just kind of oozes out. Be patient. All right, cool, there it goes. There's our paint base. Okay, now we've got our paint base. I'm gonna take a little baby spoon that I got here and even these out a little. You can see there's that non-Newtonian fluid aspect of it. When I scoop it, it like it like seizes up and becomes solid. Then when you relax it, it goes back to being fluid, which is kind of crazy. Here, I'll even scrape up those little bits, which is wild. So a little bit of fun science with our art today. Okay. There we go. There's our paint base. All right, now time to add the color. So I've got some regular food coloring here. Okay, just from the grocery store. You know, the ones that like come in the little box sets. They even have like the recipe for combining different colors. Now we don't need to add as much color as the dropper says on here, right? This is if you're doing like, you know, a whole cake, right, or a whole can of icing. So there's a lot of drops of food coloring in it. We're only going to need a little bit. All right. Now these ones that I did here, okay, these guys were done with like the gel craft store food coloring. So you get like really bright colors, but these will still work just fine. Okay, so let's make a little bit of red paint. Just gonna add just a couple, 2-3 drops of red. And I've just got a paper clip that I've straightened out here. And I'm gonna use it to mix up and stir up my red. I found that when I try to use the spoon, particularly in the little wells, it doesn't start off easy. And I have to kind of get started with the paper clip first. And then once I kind of work the food coloring in a bit, it's easier. Okay, that still looks a little orangey, so we're gonna add a little bit more red to it. Right, you just kind of like keep mixing until the color looks right. Woo! Okay. Oh no, it bled over into my other one. Okay, we'll make that one an orange. Yeah, you gotta kind of like the muffin tins were easier to stir in. So there's my red paint. Give my spoon a rinse. We'll do an orange here. So we'll do some mostly yellow plus a little bit of red. Just a teeny tiny drop of red there. Actually, what's spilled over into the other tray might be just fine. So our orange is yellow plus red. So like a couple drops of yellow, maybe 1 drop of red in there to get a pretty orange color. I may go back and add more red food coloring to, there we go, now I got it stirring. Just kind of keep mixing up to get the color all worked through. Could add another drop of red to that to make it a little bit more orangey. Oop, little tiny one. Now what's neat about these paints is once they dry, they're totally shelf stable. So they will basically, there's nothing in it, like food-wise, that can go bad. So they'll pretty much last like indefinitely. As long as you keep them dry, right? You don't want to keep them soggy wet. There we go. There we go. That's a bit orangier looking. Okay, we'll make some yellow next. Let me rinse my spoon. That's well incorporated. Do our yellow. And I tell you what, I'm gonna pause our video here and I'll come back when we're all mixed and we'll be ready to do some painting. Okay, so hang tight, see you in a few. Okay, and I'm back, I'm done mixing. So I've got all my colors mixed up. Unfortunately, I accidentally dropped some yellow into my purple, so now I have brown. So if you mix your blue and red together, you should get, you know, a nice pretty purple color. Sadly, I had an oops, and there we are. So I've got some pretty brown paint there as well. So I'm gonna set this to the side because these will have to dry now for a full 24 hours. You wanna make sure they're like really dry before you try painting with them or else you have a gloppy mess, okay? So let them dry full 24 hours. They should be truly dry to the touch. Let me get out the set I made last night, right? And I mean, they are like dry to the touch. When you touch them, they're like little hard hockey pucks. Okay, so let's do a little painting. All right, I've just got some index cards here because I figured it would fit better on our camera here because I'm running out of real estate in my kitchen. Okay, a little paint plate to do some mixing on, a little bit of water. And speaking of that purple paint, check it out. You have beautiful homemade paint. You know, it's a little bit different than the store-bought watercolor, but it'll still work really well to do some gorgeous painting work. Okay, now I did leave a plain one there as an extra base to mix with so that I could lighten up some colors, right? And I can even do some mixing on my plate here. So I can show you that. Let me rinse my brush well. Remember, rule of watercolors still apply. Make sure you rinse your brush in between each new color, right? So you can still mix these just like you would regular watercolor paints and do some beautiful, grab another index card here, do some beautiful painting work with it. Voila, homemade, gorgeous watercolors you've done yourself. So get the whole family together, have some fun, try out this recipe. There's no right or wrong to it, just follow the directions. At the end of this video, I'm gonna post the recipe along with the link to Jackie Curry's site, right? Give credit where credit's due. She has a great list of directions and everything you need with pictures and all. And then I'll also list at the end, you know, yellow plus blue is what you use to get green, etc. Okay? All right, so have some fun making some paint, folks, and join me in our next videos to see some other fun things we can do with household materials to make really beautiful printed paper. All right, take care, all. See you later in the art room. Bye-bye.